Hi, I'm Dillon from Custodian Back Office. I'm a CPA qualified accountant with an MBA. I've got over 27 years corporate experience, and much of that's been spent inside companies that have experienced growing pains and have grown significantly. So generally, as businesses grow, hiring people to deal with waves of increasingly complex work is a dilemma, a bit like which came first, the chicken or the egg. The external environment and industry dynamics are constantly changing and evolving. No one can gaze into a crystal ball with any certainty and decide the exact trigger points in which you should hire additional resourcing. So managing a growing company is a dark art. People such as Richard Branson advocate that if somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, you should take it and then work out how to do it later on. But nobody can afford to have resources sitting idle while they wait for that potential work to materialise. So things generally happen pretty quickly, and the first thing to expect is that inevitably cracks will open up and things will start to fall between them. The key is to expect it, and it's how you deal with it that's important. These cracks generally fall into two categories. It's either capacity problems or capability problems with your current resourcing structure. So in terms of capacity problems, generally the telltale signs are that people start coming in on weekends or working late just to deal with volumes of additional volumes of work. And look, if that's a short-term spike, then those people might be happy to ride it out, but you need to acknowledge them for that, whether that's through a bonus, whether it's through public acknowledgement, through time in lieu or movie tickets or a dinner voucher or something like that. But you need to do something to do it. If you expect that spike to continue into the future, then you probably should look at addressing that under-resourcing problem sooner rather than later. A rule of thumb in delegating is always to delegate until you see it start to come out their ears, but that can happen very quickly. So it's vital that you foster a culture also where people don't turn their back and pretend they can't see it falling into the crack. People saying that's not my job. Employees should be aware that cracks inevitably are going to open up, but that also represents opportunities for them to progress. They can go and bridge those gaps and fill it. So it's the company's role then not to take advantage of those people that have covered those gaps, because if they do, if they eventually hire somebody on a higher level than that person who's been covering it, inevitably that person will become disillusioned and it'll probably result in that employee leaving. You also need to be aware of the lead time in finding resources and the learning curve that ensues. Rarely can you just pluck ready-to-go people off the shelf and put them in. In terms of capability, what generally happens with smaller businesses when they grow is that they reach a point where they find a gap in their current financial management capability between what they have and what they actually need. And they require access to high-level expertise to actively manage the business, to plan for the future, improve processes and implement controls. But they haven't yet reached that critical mass to justify the investment in a full-time CFO of their own. Adding more capacity at the same level isn't the answer either. Skills don't stack up, they stack out. So you put two 50k resources side by side and they can do twice what one 50k resource can do, but they can't necessarily do what a 100k resource can do. There's also sensitivities around existing loyal staff who've done nothing wrong but now find themselves in over their heads in terms of their capability and the complexity of the much larger business they now find themselves working in. They need supplementary help and guidance. Perhaps this person was the best available candidate and fit for purpose when the business was turning over, say, $1 or $2 million, but now that it's grown to 10 million, that person probably wouldn't have made the interview shortlist for that company. So often the best solution is to engage a virtual CFO to augment your current skills on an as-needs basis. Virtual CFO consulting is a very specialised area that's gained from years of C-level reporting in big business, relentless scrutiny by Big Four auditors, and the accountability to and the exposure to the wisdom of various boards of directors over many years. The on-demand basis of a virtual CFO also means that you don't have an underutilised and expensive resource chewing away at your bottom line because you only pay for what you need. I'm Dillon from Custodian Back Office. Thanks very much for watching.